Anders Overby is a former biathlete from Norway who's been coaching for 10 years, including in his practice innovative techniques to assess the personalities of the athletes in his care. I'm Callum Murray, and as part of the BIU's series of interviews on mental health in the sport, I spoke to Anders about the value of using a personality test as a tool for reflection and thinking. I began by asking him how he came to be coaching biathlon and what values he tries to instill in his athletes. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Callum, and first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be able to discuss with you and maybe touch some good points. First of all, I want to say that I think every coach has the direction you want to try to achieve something, but there is a direction, not like the total answer. I want to say this in the start of the interview. Now, first of all, to your first part of the question, that how I got into coaching in biathlon, it actually started when I was 9 years old. I was able to sit up in the night in Europe and watch the Olympic Games in Salt Lake City. I don't think I've had heard about biathlon before, but I just got so amazed by this sport, and of course by Ole Einar Bjørndalen. That was the Norwegian hero in that period, and I just got totally in love with the sport and what the sport brought about competitiveness, and like you could never knew exactly who was going to win. So that was my early start, and then my parents took me to biathlon because I'm a former biathlete by myself. And when I look back at it now, I think a good role models, having parents that are interested, and of course really good friends is what kept me inside biathlon for such a long time. Then I quit biathlon for when I was 20 or 21 years old, and it was actually a coincidence that my younger brother Mats, he was doing biathlon. It's 7 years between us, and it felt good, and we had a lot of fun, so I started to help him a little. That was the starting of my coaching career. And to your second part of the question, like the values I want to install in my athlete, I think that as a coach, or maybe as a person anyhow, you have some values you have inside yourself, and you have something you want to bring out of others. And for me, it's the ability to be present. That's one of the important things for myself. Also, the ability to be honest. And I think people maybe misunderstand honesty sometimes, because honesty can also be quiet at the right time when I don't know what I want to bring from my athlete, because I think are the important things for me, but that is not necessarily what I want from my athlete. So right now, I think the team values of the team I'm coaching now is maybe the best description I can get, and that is, we want to be professional, we want to be ambitious, and we want to have fellowship with what that brings into it.
So this interview is part of a series we've been conducting on mental health in biathlon. What are the biggest threats to athletes' mental health in elite sport, in your experience?
Oh, it's a big topic, and it's a really important topic. I think most of mental health for me is summarized by the feeling of not being alone. And I think you can put it into both physically and mentally. If we are standing with ourselves and our own thoughts and our own challenges all the time, I think you can quite fast get the feeling of being alone. And this feeling of being alone is like in our human being, that we don't want to be alone. We want to follow someone. We want to have someone on the trip with us. So I think both physically and mentally, that you have someone to talk to, someone to listen to you, someone that gives you direction, and also are giving you some kind of variation into your life, is what's most important in the mental health for being on top, but also kind of agreeing with yourself that life is not always perfect, but dealing with challenges is a part of life, but we need like a tool set to find how to solve it.
And I know you've developed a personality test that you use as a tool for reflection and thinking about your athletes. Can you describe that test to me?
Yes, I can. But first of all, I need to say it's not me that has developed it. It's a recruitment firm in Norway that use it. And I think there's a lot of these personality tests going around in these days. So for me, it was like I have always been quite interested in personality. I think it's exciting topic, how people react, how people think, how we perceive different things. And I got the opportunity to take one of these tests in a previous team I was coaching. And then we did the test, and at first I wanted to know the results to like put it into a box and understanding. But then I was able to see that it's not to get the result. That's not the total answer. What it gives is more like time to reflect, more like time to speak to each other and understand like, okay, maybe Callum sees this way, Anders sees this way, and we have a third person seeing it in a total other perspective. So it started from being interested in personality to going into testing it. And now I'm not doing personality tests at all, but I'm using the same answers I got for some years ago to reflect, but also to talk to the athletes I'm working with now.
That's interesting. So what do you mean you're using the answers you got to reflect on the athletes you're talking to now?
More like trying to understand and trying to like facilitate good conversations. Yeah, as I said, there are a lot of different personality tests, I think, but the most important, I think, is to find like a toolbox that you know how to work by yourself. And my previous experiences on doing this personality test have put me into a mindset that I know more which questions to ask, what to look after for. And also, I think it's really important from my experience that personality is not like some rigid that are like it is always. Or personality often depends on different situations. So you always need to be adaptable and flexible to understand what people are thinking or what they are saying. Like when I'm talking now, if you are listening to this in a rush, when you're sitting on the bus or making dinner, you are in a total other situation in your head than if you're laying in your bed and breathing relaxed and so on.
And the test enables you to identify 4 personality types: enthusiastic, energetic, accurate, and inclusive. How does dividing athletes into these types help you as a coach?
First of all, to continue your previous question and go on, I think it's more about reflection more than try to stigmatize and put name on you are like this, you are like that. If you take the 4 different names on it, you have the accurate one. I like to say that this is a person that like things have been done properly. So they want to know like the mathematics, like if I do this, I get this. If I do follow step A, B, C, my result will be D. And that is some kind of way of thinking. Let's just remember to not like push it to the limits. It's more dynamic and it's fluid. Then you have the inclusive one. For me, that's the person that cares more about other than themselves. I like to say this person is my mom. That no matter what, if I call her now and say that I'm in trouble or I need help, she will just drop her things and I come to you, I will help you. So they care more about other people than themselves. And this can also be like a bad thing or like a challenging thing, because if you're always worrying about others, you are going to take care of yourself. So it's not like these characteristics are good or bad. It's some kind of way of seeing it. Then you have the energetic or the energy one. They are not caring too much about the process or what's right or wrong. They just want the right result. So I have coached some of these guys during my coaching career, and it's interesting to see that they don't necessarily want to know everything about the sport, every detail. They just want to be able to compete at the highest level they are able to. And then you have the enthusiastic one, the people that caught the room or are happy to speak loud, or maybe more about they're in for the ride because the ride is cool than where the ride is taking you.
The test also identifies characteristics based on what you call the big 5 criteria. And those criteria are openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. It sounds like some of those are more useful to athletes than others. So can those characteristics be trained? Can you increase your conscientiousness or your agreeableness or your openness and diminish your neuroticism, for example?
It's a good question, and if I try to answer in it two directions, I think the science says no. I haven't read all the science behind it, but some of the articles I've read says that these criteria or like these characteristics, they are who you are. So it's not possible to change this. But from my perspective with the people I'm working with and also myself, I think that you have to put them into specific situations. And of course, I am a more experienced, I am more mature, have more confidence in myself as a coach than I had for 10 years ago. So of course, maybe I will score different in openness now than when I didn't know too much for 10 years ago. So I think also the science says that conscientiousness and openness are the two that are most capable to be changed. But in my perspective, if you take to be nervous, it depends on the situation. The first time you race a World Cup, the first time you race an IDU Cup, the first time you're in a new training with your new team, you will be a little nervous because you don't know about the situation and you don't know exactly what it takes from you. So I think in time you will be able to change some small things in these characteristics. But yeah, if the science says that it's not, then it maybe means that it's not possible to go from this side to this side. You are maybe able to move a little inside the box.
So is this personality test part of a trend towards coaching becoming more scientific and measurable, do you think?
Yeah, I think that you are right in your question. In the world we're living now with internet and AI coming so fast, I think we are able to find more and more answers, and maybe personality tests or physiological testing, shooting testing, everything that gives us more answers. We are maybe trending we want more and more answers. But if it's the right thing to do, I don't know. Because as we said, mental health earlier in the previous question, what is mental health? Mental health is the feeling of not being alone and being able to process different situations. And for me, it's really important to not stigmatize and say that you are like this and you will always be. And the same with the physiological test, that you are on this level now, so you will be there forever. It doesn't make sense. So I think we are going towards a trend that we want more and more answers, but we should also remember when we get new answers, there's new questions. New questions need to be answered. New questions need to be raised. And if we want to keep this trend under control or keep developing it, I think we should always remember to ask questions. And I remember I got a question from one athlete one time that asked me what my philosophy was. And I answered what I thought there. It was 5 years ago. But then I started to think that philosophy, is it like I have my own philosophy for the rest of the life? Or is that some kind of way of seeing life? Is philosophy stable or is it more dynamic or flexible? And as I get more and more experience or being able to coach more and more athletes, I see that this flexible part is what's growing inside me, because I meet new people. I talk with you, I talk with my athletes, I talk with athletes from other countries, coaches from other countries, and they ask questions or gives me new ways of seeing life. And it's not like I jump totally into it and say, oh, you are right, so I go this way. But it makes me think, and it makes me maybe able to adapt some of my own philosophy and take in new things.
And looking at it sort of broadly, I guess that the way you've educated yourself about personality types, your awareness of them, the more you understand about your athletes, the more you're able to help them to perform to their greatest potential.
Exactly. And I think that's my biggest job, because by the end of the day, it's my athletes that are going to be standing on lane number 1 and trying to hit 5 out of 5 targets. They are the one that needs to control their breath while going into the woods as hard as they can. So for me, I want to be a servant leader that gives them the toolbox to handle these situations, and we can learn together. And for me, a team is just a collection of people that have some kind of the same challenges or same mentality, so they can work together. So like in any other work, if you're working in an office, make people work together so they can solve and find the best solutions together.
And final question, Anders, how would you describe the role of a coach in relation to athletes' mental health?
Good question. I think first of all, you need to define, is it being a coach or is it being a leader? Because a coach for me is someone that tries to not teach you necessarily, but push you and guide you through something. And being a leader is more helping you to solve your tasks in your best way. And I think as a leader, I want to, as I said in the previous question, I want to help my athletes. So I cannot give them so many tasks that their head is filled up and they're not able to do the biathlon they want. I cannot push them so hard that they're not able to talk to their girlfriend or boyfriend when they get home. I need to find the balance so they can balance their life. And therefore, for me, I think the coach or the leader has a really important role. I talked a little bit about the servant leadership in the previous question, and it's the same here, that you don't necessarily want to be someone that always serve other people, but I want to help them with their biggest challenges so they're able to use their energy in what's important for them. And self-leadership is also a term we can use that I often like to think that I want to teach to my athletes a way that they can lead themselves. And leading yourself is sometimes the most difficult, because you have the good one on one shoulder and you have the bad one on the other one, and they are talking into your ears and you're getting all this noise. So sometimes you just need to find, what are my direction? What are my values? What are my vision? What are my mission? And what are my goals? What I'm trying to achieve, so I can take away all the noise that maybe push me in the wrong direction or makes it more difficult.
Thank you, Anders. Fascinating to hear from you about your philosophy as a coach and the way in which you work with your athletes.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. It was a really nice discussion.